I have some fantastic news. When I thought that the chassis was going to take a week or maybe even 2 weeks, it turns out didn't even take a day. Now, of course, there was some time leading up to that, so this video, I didn't make this video 5 days in advance after the thing was actually done. In fact, the chassis was only finished a couple days ago, and I just uploaded on Sunday because that's the standard schedule. But the chassis is completely welded and it's all good. So the reason that it took so little time, because I thought, sending it off to a commercial welder, fabricator, I think it's fabricator. I thought it was going to take a really, really long time because they have lots of other jobs to do, and so it's just going to sit there in the back for a while, and so it might be 2 weeks or longer before I actually get the cart back with the weld done. But very, very fortunately, one of my mates, who is like the single most knowledgeable person when it comes to welding that I know, offered to help, and I can't possibly refuse that. Why would I? That's very stupid. So of course I took him up on his offer, and as a result, instead of waiting a week or 2 weeks or maybe even longer, it was a single day and it took 40 minutes. That was it. So I actually learned a reasonable amount about welding, about how my go-kart uses a type of metal that's along the lines of 4130 or something. It's chrome moly metal. You can really tell that I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just spitting out the buzzwords they're not buzzwords. They are actual terms in welding, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just echoing what my mate said. But because of his generosity, which I'm still very thankful for, I thanked him personally, and I'm still very, very thankful for his generosity. But because of his willingness to just help on a whim, I now have a go-kart that's ready to go, track worthy, in about half the time that I thought it was going to take, roughly. So from the day the chassis cracked to the day it was fixed, it was literally about 4 days. I thought it was going to take 2 weeks. It took 4 days. It's pretty crazy. But I'm very, very thankful for his help and support. Essentially, the chassis has been welded in literally about half the time that I thought it was going to take. And as a result, I can now shoot straight back off to the track and start practicing again, which means, really importantly, that I'm now back on track to get more practice in, so that I will be most likely, if not practically guaranteed, to be ready for my very first race, which is going to be at the end of March. So that's still a little while away. It's essentially 2 months away. I'm recording this at I think it's the start of February, or 1st, 2nd of February, something like that. And the race is at the end of March. So it's essentially pretty much almost 2 months basically. But that's so much time that I have to practice, when I thought that the time that I had was going to be much less than that. I thought the chassis was going to take 2 weeks, and then I got to put the engine back on and everything, and so it's going to take it could take, even at the maximum, it could take as long as 3 weeks, because I'm very inexperienced. I'm very, very inexperienced with putting engines back on the cart. I've only ever done it once, ever. No, twice. I've only done it twice. And so I'm still I'm still figuring out I know what to do. It just takes time, because it's not a muscle memory. It's not something I'm familiar with. And so I want to take my time to make sure I don't ruin an engine that doesn't even have 5 hours of runtime on it, that costed a small fortune, and I really don't want to mess it up. And so as a result, it could have taken 3 weeks in total, which means half of my prep time for the race is now just gone. So that's quite a problem. But thankfully, because of my mate's generosity, who I'm still so thankful that he offered to help, as a result of him, but purely because of him, I now get that extra 3 weeks, pretty much, about 2 weeks and like 6 days or something. It's essentially the whole 3 weeks of practice time back. And I'm now ready to go flying back off to the track and start ripping lap times again, and hopefully get some more personal bests. Because like the faster I can get a better lap time. That was a bit confusing, but yeah, essentially the more PRs I can get, the closer I'll be to race pace, which means I get to my first race and I'm actually, if I'm a front runner, which I have no reason to suspect that whatsoever. I'm not expecting that of myself. I'm thanks to my mum, like we've had this joke multiple times in the past about how my mum gave me the very like strict mindset of having very, very high expectations of myself. I'm not expecting to just go and win a race. Like the first time I just pull up to a club race I've never raced in my life and boom, I'm 5 seconds ahead and I win the whole race by a long shot. I'm not expecting anything even close to that. Essentially, my expectations are if I can overtake a single kart, that's a win, essentially. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be starting at the back or near the back of the grid. So if I can overtake even a single kart, I will be very, very happy about that. So yeah, that's honestly, that's really about it. So the chassis has been welded and I'm all ready to head back out to the track. And I'm ready to break some new PRs and get into a new zone of time, because I've only just broken into the 44s and race pace is in the 41s and 42s. So I'm just trying to figure out where that extra time is, because according to my coach, my racing lines are very similar to the people who are getting those lap times. And so we're starting to think maybe it's something to do, the engine's brand new, it can't be the engine anymore. Maybe it's something to do with the chassis because it's a very old chassis, but we're still trying to figure that out. We don't really know. But as of right now, that's all I've got to tell you. That's the update so far. So I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.